welcome everyone to another edition of the Focus TV. Happy to be back this week. We got Raymond Lyons here, Ricardo Dudley Jr., Malik Miller. I'm Wilson Turpage, and this is season 8, episode 37. Without further ado, we'll get straight to it. Ray, the Washington Mystics. If you guys been following Mix's Outlook, Cardell has laid out a very clear roadmap of the importance of this very week that we are in the midst of. That said, Ray, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this is a pretty important week, and doesn't look like the Mystics understand that. They fell to the dream on Sunday, and now they're having some trouble against an Angel Reese-less Chicago Sky team. They're down 25-10 at the end of the first quarter. Hopefully they can right that ship and turn things around. We'll get more into that on Mystics Outlook, but big news today, personnel-wise. The Mystics traded Brittany Sykes to the Seattle Storm for Alicia Clark, Zia Cook, and a 2026 first-round pick. We kind of expected things would get shaken up. The trade deadline is 2 days away. The Mystics probably aren't done. But in regards to this trade, it looks like the most important thing was the 2026 first round pick. They, as far as the draft goes, they're sitting pretty good for the next couple of years. So I'm not mad at it. But Slim, this was her third year in DC. She was an integral part of the team. She was leading the team in scoring this year. Also, what she brought in defensive end, she made first team all defense her first year, and has steadily shown up on that end of the floor. Had a little bit of an injury plagued season last year, but this year she returned to form. She's been struggling a bit of late, but overall she did provide a veteran presence, and I'm sure the fans would be sad to see her go, but at the end of the day, it's a business. I'm sure she'll get a warm reception of her first game back here. But yeah, man, the Mystics they're building for the future. They're stockpiling picks, kind of like their counterparts on the men's side. So it'll be interesting to see how they maneuver this. It's interesting time, man. They hit on their picks this year. We get to see Georgia due to injury, but hopefully when she's right and healthy, she can contribute as well. But yeah, man, it is what it is. But in regards to this season, Wilson and Cardell touched on it. They're on a road trip right now, which could very well determine their playoff status. And they got to get some wins. That's just what it is, plain and simple. They've been an up and down team all season. They really haven't established an identity as to who they are, how they're going to play. We've talked ad nauseum about the turnovers. We saw that rear its ugly head in the worst way against the Dream. They started that game off on fire, but had a disastrous second quarter, 9 turnovers in that period alone. And Atlanta took full advantage and never looked back. Like I said, they're struggling against the Sky right now. Shooting 4 for 16 at the moment, 4 turnovers in the first quarter. And, Chicago just put their foot on the gas. They're shooting 12 for 19. That's 63% from the field. And that explains why the score is the way it is. But, yeah, man, they got to get it together. This is an important stretch. It's not good enough just to be there. In my eyes, given the team that they have, they have the talent. They're in this position for a reason, and it will be nice to see them go ahead and finish the job and make the postseason. So we'll see, man. Hopefully they can turn things around, but right now they ain't looking too good.
Yeah, and for Mystics Outlook, folks, if you missed any of recaps after the game, head over to the Roku channel and check out any past ones. And for those of you who are already tuned in tonight's game while we're taping, we'll see y'all a little bit later this evening. That said, it's that wonderful time of year, but this might be the last week with no football segment. We'll have Octavia back next week, and that means we will have had the very first week of NFL preseason action. Sorry, not counting all the fan game because only 2 teams played. Everyone's playing this weekend, so I look forward to see what she has to say about that. That said, Cardell, it's another week of the extended segment. Both taking a bit in rapid fire.
Yes, sir. Might as well stay with the Mystics and take it or leave it. Like Ray just said, Mystics traded All-Star guard Brittany Sykes to the Seattle Storm. Storm sent veteran for Alicia Clark and a 2026 first-round pick in exchange for Sykes. Not going to detail anymore because Ray just did. Take it or leave it. The Mystics trading Brittany at this point in the season with them, battling for a playoff spot. Might as well stay with you, Ray.
It was an interesting way you posed the question. With the way you asked it, I'll leave it because, it just, I don't want to say it seems like you're punting on the season, but, you trade one of your core members in the middle of a playoff run. And absolutely no disrespect to Alicia Clark at all, but she won't be able to fill the void that Sykes left, and so in that aspect, it kind of seems like they're throwing in the towel a little bit and just looking forward to the draft. But overall, the first round are back for next year. But yeah, at this point in the season, making a personnel move like that, it kind of gives off. If we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. That's just from my perspective.
Malik. You on mute, Malik? Wilson, go
ahead. I'm with Ray. It's weird. Other thing, I think most of us have this game on at the moment right now. Just like we've been saying all year, it's one of the youngest teams in the league. This trade happens while on a road trip. Obviously, welcome to the W of professional sports. Having to kind of deal with that mentally, try to figure and sort through all that as well. I know there's still other vets on the team who have you, but that's tough. It's definitely one of those. If we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. I'm probably part of the club. Let's see what happens, and some of those decisions are going to happen anyway. But I also kind of do get, and I do understand getting a first round pick. I know we talked ad nauseum already this year about how weird this offseason may be for the W with so many people in free agency. I would have to imagine if you're Washington, maybe you don't see yourselves being very big players. Free agency, it might behoove you to get, a bunch of rookie contracts on your team where, rookies don't have a say until those contracts run up. But yeah, it's great that you got 3 first-round picks for next year, but you don't know where you're going to pick. This year stuff shook out for you a little bit. For sure you hit on 2 of the 3. The other thing is now it might be easy to be like, see, this year might have been easier than next year with whatever's available. And then because now you got to fit in what's available with what you have next year. And next year's landscape is going to be, we just don't know. There's so many unknowns with next year. And again, on that same token, I do understand, Cardell, I think you mentioned the other day, the trade deadline was this week. Obviously, we saw some action today. I'm sure we'll see some more in the next 48 hours. Keep in mind with what free agency may look like, teams might be in, that kind of like that NFL mindset of come their trade deadline, which is kind of like if we know we're not retaining someone long term, like we know we're not, we might as well try to get something for them than lose them for nothing. But yeah, it's just weird. I would have liked them to kind of keep it together, see what you have with the playoffs. Also, the timing's weird on this road trip. But hey, it is what it is. Pro sports.
Malik.
To add on what Wilson was saying, 3 picks is a good potential thing to have going on. but Brittany Sykes was having one of the best years of her 9-year career. Regarding her points per game, this was the second highest her points has ever been in her 9-year span, 4-year all defensive team, as mentioned before. So Washington is saying they're saying with this trade that they're not looking to win a championship, but they are looking to compete. I'm about to say they're bringing in somebody who's versatile, that can guard, that can score. But for the future, three picks is productive. Now in the upcoming draft, Lauren Betts, Ozzie Fudd, Olivia Miles from Notre Dame. It's some young cats that can really get the ball moving. But I just Washington was on a. I'm gonna say have mixed feelings here. Washington was on the verge of something. Now the Seattle Storm, in opinion, this is a great trade for them. They get a 31-year-old that can flat out hoop to go with everybody else they have. But yeah, the Washington, I see the potential for the future. Like mentioned with the Washington Wizards, I see what they're trying to do with the future, but we just gotta wait for the days to go.
Yeah, my 2 cents on this is one, she's in the last year of a 3-year deal, so it kind of made it more understandable. She signed a 3-year deal for $575,000. February 1st back in 2023. We don't know the conversations behind the scenes. Brittany was saying, I want to go to a winner. I want to go out. We don't know if the Mystics, were saying that she's in the last year of her deal. Do we want to extend her the type of money that, she's worth? Do we want to have that? Obviously, with the situation with the CBA that's coming up, we don't quite know what the financial situation will be, and including expansion teams that were kind of that big pot that would normally go all the teams now, that would be spread a little thin even more. So it's a lot to go over. Again, we weren't in those rooms with those conversations. So I know all that played a part. Now, from the basketball side, the side we could see, it's definitely a blow because they were right. I mean, they're in the middle of a playoff battle that they haven't quite been in for a few years, which is something that we prior didn't grow accustomed to. We were used to them seeing them in the playoffs. We was used to seeing them competing for championships. Look, every organization got to run itself. It is what it is. But if it is a situation where let's tank and get ready for the draft and stuff like that, that's kind of a sad approach because that guarantees nothing. Yes, you hit this year with your rookies, great. But to come out this hole, and especially when you add tanking, you have to continue to hit on these picks and not just hit like, all right, they're WNBA players. Hit like you hit this year with their all-stars out the gate. You got to hit. And that's just hard to do. If you look through the history of sports, I really only think what the 60 Celtics were doing it with Red Out. Like, you're going to miss some years. It is what it is. You're going to miss some years. But the thing is, when you're tanking, you're basically telling everybody we're a losing culture. And who wants to go to a losing culture willingly? So you won't attract free agents. You won't attract players that would want to come in unless you overpay. So you have to rely on your rookies, your young players to grow and become all-stars and all WNBA type players. And you got to. That obviously has that trajectory to be all WNBA players. They're already all-stars. We're going to see what Georgia becomes next year. And then you got the draft that's coming up next spring. So, it's I get the plan, but we've seen teams tank for years and years and years, and it hasn't amounted to nothing. I mean, I'm just do what you got to do to draft and build your team, no doubt, but play to win, man. Play to win, because that's part of development too. Like, wouldn't it be good for Citron and Kiki to get some playoff experience? To add in with the experience they got becoming first-year All-Stars as rookies and stuff, I think that would be great, man. So, it's just something to look forward to, man. But again, Brittany put in work. She will be missed. But if she won it out, I'm glad she's going to a situation where she can contribute and try to win. And that's all you ask for. All right, we're gonna move on. Stand and take it or leave it. Trae Young, if you're a member of the Atlanta Hawks front office, you may want to consider picking up the phone. According to Mark Spears, Hawks standout point guard Trae Young is disappointed he has yet to be offered a contract extension. The ESPN insider said during the Tuesday episode of NBA Today, quote, "What I'm hearing now at this point, and you could tell by Trae's tweet, and I saw him during the finals, I think he's disappointed that it hasn't come. It hasn't been offered," he said. So don't be surprised at this point if he plays this out and sees what happens next summer. Young's current contract runs through the 25-26 season with the player option for 26-27, but he is eligible to sign a 4-year, $229 million extension now. Take it or leave it. Malik, take it or leave it. Do you extend Trae? You let it play out and deal with it next summer?
The apron every second in the NBA, NFL, every day that a day goes by, a player gets signed for more money, expanding the market, pushing the dollar bill, adding more zeros to the contract. So Atlanta just got to figure out what they want. He's been there for a second. I might say he's been there warmer than a second. Not as long as some other guys in other sports need to be moved, like the quarterback in Dallas or anything like that. But he's been there for a second. So they just got to figure out, honestly, they brung in guys to help him. They moved out guys that were there to help him. They just got to figure out if they want to, if he's the guy, if they're going to put his jersey into the Atlanta Hall of Fame Raptors, or Atlanta Hawks Hall of Fame, or if they're going to be like a team like the Raptors that really just blow it all up, bring in somebody new, and in a year they can get it done. But the pieces, it's no reason why the Hawks can't get it done. Whether it's him or whether it's just everyone around him, but he's the common denominator at this point. So it's either him or it's the team, and they just got to figure out what they want to do.
Wilson.
Yeah, they got an interesting decision. This is one of the the other sides of that apron, right? Before people were just handing out extensions without thinking about anything, all nilly-willy, and now, do I really want to commit to those large price tags? And Trae's been amazing offensively. That's it. There's another side of the ball. You do play essentially quarterback equivalent of on the basketball court. Your team just they haven't maximized their time with you on the court. Now, obviously, everything's not your fault. That said, but you're the floor general. What's on you? Your career numbers again. They're amazing offensively, man. Like you've been good. Do a great job scoring and getting people involved. Y'all don't win. Don't win. Like that's part of it too, right? Is leading your team to victory. That's the position that you play. So yeah, it's hard to think about that, to hand out that money. And then the other thing that's like been happening right in front of everyone's eyes in Atlanta, they low-key turning the page. He's just still there. Like we've seen, like when Trae Young first got there, it was about Trae Young. Last year we saw you get Ricochet, right? Cool. They brought in Dyson Daniels last year too. Dyson Daniels is 22. You're trying to tell me where we just saw the teams that were just rumbling in the finals, right? Are you trying to tell me that you can't find anything to do with 6'7" Dyson Daniels in terms of bringing the ball up, initiating offense, with all the crap he brings to you defensively? Feel like you can still make a basketball team work having a lockdown guy at the one. That's it. That's their decision. They got to figure that out. I can see a world where they keep him. I can also see a world where you go, hey, this is your last year. You're essentially an expiring. Let's see what things look like until the trade deadline. Thank you for everything. We appreciate your contributions. But for Atlanta, yeah, big decision. But I could easily see them just moving him this year before the deadline. And because honestly, to me, if you were going to keep him, you would have gave him his bread already. Like we saw, what's it called? The Thunder paid their 3 people, and they're not even. They paid them early. Like they're all like a year away, or a year or 2 away from their extensions before they kick in. So like we've seen teams like if they want you, there's not hemming and hawing about it. It's just, hey, this is our guy. We lock him in. This is almost like when you got the NFL rookie that gets, this is your 5th year and you're playing on your 5th year option and you don't have an extension yet. Hey man, it seems kind of sometimes they tell you how they feel about you. So I'm interested to see it, but I can see it either way. I'm probably gonna leave it. Leave Atlanta. You just don't have to.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, man, I'm Wilson. Like they've done a lot to accommodate dude, man. He's on what, his 4th or 5th coach. They brought in several players. Like the results not matching the activity, man. And like you can't keep living off that Eastern Conference Finals run, buddy. Like you got to move the needle. And yeah, like Wilson said, he's amazing when on one side of the ball. The other side leaves a lot to be desired. And if that's a hefty price tag for a liability for where you spend half of the game. Like so, and yeah, teams they're just not handing blank checks anymore. They can't afford to. And I think that's a good thing. It'll hold both sides accountable. Teams got to be smarter about how they dish out this money. Players got to approach their business as the way this money is not just guaranteed anymore. Like 50-something million a year for first round exits. That's just not gonna cut it, man. So yeah, Trey, he got to look in the mirror. You can't just put it all on the franchise. You got to do something to warrant them not even having to think about it. Like Wilson said, OKC wasn't even a question. Got them guys squared away immediately. This situation, it's a little different. They might be kind of looking to move on. They got some other young pieces in place, and they could probably feel like they could maybe flip them for something or do better elsewhere. So yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So I'm gonna leave it as well.
Yeah, I'm all for players getting their money. That's just the hooper in me, but gotta leave it, man. Like what Ray said, man. They've gave him the superstar franchise player treatment, allowed him to make calls and all that. But this is with the tax haven, with the 2 tax havens, man. You got to be careful because we've been preaching this since it was on the horizon a year or so ago. It could cripple your franchise for years, man. Where you can't get out of it unless you just move players at will. Just get them up out of there, get below it right away. You know what I mean? Like the Celtics, earlier traded Georges Niang just to get below the 2nd tax haven. So they wanted to pay that hefty fine and the hefty tax bill. But though he led the league in assists. We already know he can score. I'm going up. He averaged 24, averaged 11, just under 12 assists, which led the league. Turnovers a bit high, 4.7, making matters worse. 87% from the free throw line. Just talking about his value, 34% from deep, which is one of his worst years shooting the ball from deep in his career. And his field goal percentage, 41%. The worst of his career, 41.1%. His rookie year was 41.8%, but last year was 41.1%. The worst of his career. That ain't even the worst part. See, fans just look at the scoring and the flashy plays. You got to look at everything. You look at everything. The defensive end. His defensive rating was a 119. You're getting up 119 points per 100 possessions, man. Like that, the league averages in the low 110s. That's all right. You elite if you in the 100s, damn sure in the 90s. And that only happened no more because of the extra possessions that happen. Oh, you giving up 119 points per 100 possessions. Oh, that's you pretty much fooled. You fooled. So I can't blame Atlanta for asking. So can we get to the next level? Can we win with him leading the way? Like I can't I can't knock them for asking that. And not just that, is he worth us just handicapping our franchise with that big old contract? Because we're going to go on the second tax haven. Man, you can feel the way all you want, man. But I feel like sometimes I get it's business, you know, get your money, but sometimes you gotta be real with yourself too about what the situation is overall, and what am I not bringing to the table. I mean, how many years has he been in the league? 7 years in the league. You haven't made really no improvements defensively whatsoever, and you came in as a small guard. Now, fortunately for him, he came in an era where, you know, the Warriors style of play, the 3-ball and all that, that was in high demand. If you could do that, and he could do that, yes. So it was value. But slowly but surely, it done went back to, you got to be multidimensional, and you got to be able to impact both ends, which it shouldn't have never left, but the analytics and freedom of movement, all that stuff, benefited guys like Trey. So now when guys can really get up in them, be physical and stuff like that, not just on defense to try to stop them, but even offensively. If I'm a bigger guard, I could just bully him, get to my spots, and just knock down the shot. It makes it tough, man. And it puts a lot of pressure on the other guys on your team that have to cover for you. The Dyson Daniels, the Versace's, Johnson, all those guys, man. It's just tough, man. So, look, he can run the floor. He can run the team. He makes the right reads, obviously, with his 11 assists. He can score the ball, especially when we get high. He's a problem. But when you're looking at the totality of everything and what it can do for that franchise, is he the answer to elevate you, especially in the East? That, put it this way, can he elevate them this year with the East wide open, with Tatum being out and no Detroit coming up, New York trying to figure things out with a new coach? Like, it's wide open. So can you trust him to, like, if it's going to be a year to prove I'm worthy of that money, this is the year to do it. This is the year to do it. So I can't blame them for, like, we'll wait and see, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if he don't do it, why would I want to max you out? And it's just as simple as that, man. You know, it can't. I think people gotta look. I get it, man, but you gotta look at both sides sometimes. It can't always just be the one side, man. Now, if he was getting them to the finals and doing that consistently, improving on both ends, yeah, he deserves his money without question. You brought up OKC, Wilson. You saw what they did, Shea, what they do. No one dominated both ends, and they won. We don't need to discuss nothing. Here's your extension early. Lock it in so we can continue to try to compete for championships. Because you know what Presley learned? He made that mistake before with KD, now Harden go, and Ibaka. Yeah, he made that mistake before. He learned. He ain't doing it again. We're going to lock these boys in quick. So, you know, man, if I'm Trey, you could be a little upset because, you know, I'm pretty sure he's felt like he's done a lot for not just the team, but the community of Atlanta, period. But, you know, you also got to take a look in the mirror and see, well, why aren't they really excited to just give me this contract? And then put the work in and prove, you know, look, man, prove you're worthy. It's as simple as that. So we're going to see how it plays out. Staying in the NBA side, the Spurs appear to have locked up a critical part of their core. Spurs guard De'Aaron Fox has agreed to a 4-year contract extension with the Spurs worth $229 million over 4 years. Fox, still just 27, was previously scheduled to hit free agency after the 2026 season. He is now reportedly on a contract through 2030. The Kings traded him to San Antonio, 3-team deal in February. And 62 games in 2025, 45 with the Kings, 17 with the Spurs. Fox averaged 23.5 points, 4.8 rebounds, 6.3 assists per game. The scoring dropped modestly upon arrival in San Antonio, where he averaged 19.7 points per game, which is to be expected because Wemby's the feature guy. And 8 seasons since being drafted 5th out of Kentucky, Fox has proven to be a consistent contributor. During Sacramento's breakout season 2023, he was named an All-Star and the NBA's Clutch Player of the Year. His 2 steals per game in 2024 led the NBA. Take it or leave it, locking up De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio. Wilson.
I'm going to take it because it helps you both now and in the future possibly, and it takes some of the pressure off the younger guards they have. You know, you have Castle. You'll be going to year 2. You just got Harper. Would be his rookie season coming up. And the wonderful thing is, because of the size of all your guards, De'Aaron Fox is your smallest guard. and he's different as an athlete. So if you're a small guard, is a freak athlete, usually you're in a pretty good place. Also, you just want to talk about the flexibility that gives them, because almost all their guys are on rookie, other key guys are on rookie deals. You got, after going into the season, you got 2 more years with Castle before you have to do anything. You got 3 more years with Harper. There's no question you're paying Wemby, so that he's not even counting within my calculation, because you're just sliding over the check. You keep it moving as long as that young man is healthy. There's no questions asked. He's already been a great early return on investments. But with Fox, yeah, say for the first couple of years of his deal, he's still the lead guard and everything. And if the tide does start to turn a little bit, and those 2 bigger guards, it looks like maybe you want to make the move, that's still a very tradable deal for De'Aaron Fox is on that contract's not crazy where you can't move it. I just like it because it makes sense in here and now, offers them some flexibility, and it kind of eases the pressure. And it also gives you where it's not your fault that you essentially have 3 guys who have played point guard in their lives. For most of their life, that's your luxury. We see I know we keep talking about OKC. OKC has a ton of guards that have the ball and play up and down the roster, what have you. Your luxury in San Antonio is you got 3 dudes who've played the 1. And then, most of them, the 2 younger ones, we've seen them both be comfortable playing off ball or whatnot. Like, that's a luxury to have. Then you got the big skinny eraser back there behind everything. Yeah, I'm taking it. I love it for them. This was always an option for them. Super young team. That's the vet you chose to pay early. And, like you guys were talking about, not, paying someone the money, not worried about regretting it or whatever. But for De'Aaron, it's a big opportunity, right? You get a chance of, can you win is like the vet with this group. Can you help lead them? So we'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely taking it. I love that for them. I know he only played 17 games last year before, I think, getting hurt and, closing down the rest of the season. But dude, athletically, what they have on a perimeter, stupid over there. So I love it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it, man. I don't have too much to add. It was just I think it's good to have him there to kind of guide those younger guards and see them through. And like Wilson said, man, if it gets to a point where they make him expendable, you can get that off the books pretty easily. And it definitely doesn't hurt to have him. God forbid one of those guys gets hurt or something like that. You're going to be steady at that position, kind of no matter what. So yeah, man, it was a good move from them. I expect nothing less from a franchise like the Spurs. So yeah, and like Wilson said, it's a great opportunity for him. Like, I think they were approaching play-in territory last year. So yeah, man. If you can just kind of move that needle and continue to progress, then he can increase his value as well. So yeah, man, all around good move for everybody involved.
Malik.
I agree. I like the move by the Spurs locking down a guy that they feel as though is a cornerstone of the project they got going on with Victor Wemby. And to relating to the core of the Spurs team, Fox is the oldest guy that they made production. The only guys older than him are Kelly, Harrison Barnes, Luke Cornett, and those guys aren't really the nucleus that anybody talks about relating to Victor Wemby, Castle, Dylan Harper, Julius Champagne. So getting that veteran, their veteran is 27 years old, and D Fox. He's locked up for the next few years. They have team options with Dylan Harper 2 seasons from now, Steve McCastle in a season from now. Victor Wemby is going to get signed. So like stated before, the Spurs take care of business when it relates to business and when it relates to what the players want, what the players feel like they need, even if they don't want them to stay there, to make sure they get somewhere where they feel the love and the business is handled. So the Spurs just checking another box that they always check. I like the move.
Yeah, I'm with it too. They would have if De'Aaron didn't get banged up and Wemby didn't get banged up. I feel like they would have made the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure the organization feels the same way. Now you got De'Aaron; he's comfortable. It's not just a midseason trade. He's been there now. He's acclimated. You got Castle right there, and obviously Dylan Harper. He's there, young bull. He right there, and obviously Wemby. Just praying he stay healthy because it's fun watching him play. Man, with Showchan and all those guys, man, look, they got a tough core. They got a tough core, young core that's on the rise, man. So, yeah, why not? Why just let him walk and weaken your roster when you can go ahead and try to make that push? And let's be honest, if you want to rumble with the top teams in the West, you need depth. That top heavy stuff ain't gonna do it no more. You got to have a strong, good 7 to 8 to even rumble. Look at the champs. You might even need to go 10 because they go 12. So just letting talent, all-star caliber talent like De'Aaron Fox just walk out the building, not a smart move unless you just really can't afford them. But, if you're doing your due diligence, you should have been prepared for that before you even got to that point. You know what I mean? So it's just a no-brainer in my opinion. But it goes back to what we was talking about in the previous question with Trae Young. What's the difference? He impacts both ends. So it's more value with that, especially these days, man. So, it is what it is. Now we're going to move to rapid fire. Man, yeah, this one irritated a lot of folks in our community. Look, NBA GOAT debates are officially off the rails. And today's conductor, Kendrick Perkins. Look, he was on this podcast, Road Tripping, that he hosts with, normally with Richard Jefferson and Shannon Fry. But, in the process of him talking about disagreeing with the recent Washington Post column, arguing for Bill Russell as the best player in NBA history because of what Bill Russell faced off the court, Perkins, rather than simply, just arguing about on-court stuff, argued that off-court challenges should not factor into a player's greatness, or that someone like Michael Jordan still accomplished enough on the court to supersede Russell's historic racial advocacy. Perkins also went down a peg by comparing his strength in the face of racism to modern players dealing with, talking about Russell's strength in the face of racism to modern players dealing with haters on social media. Quote, I would never take what the guy Bill Russell and what they had to go through for us to be able to perform at a high level or even be in the NBA, for the NBA to even exist. I wasn't there, Perkins said on Road Tripping Podcast. But I will say everyone's had their own form of adversity. Back then, it was racism and death threats. But having to battle through the adversity of effing social media as a player elevates right up into there when you talk about mental toughness. When co-host Richard Jefferson scrunched his face questioning the tape, Perkins clarified that he believes increasing race and mental health issues among athletes creates a similarly challenging landscape in which modern athletes are expected to thrive. Quote, I get it. People's lives were on the line, but mental health is a real thing. And we see so many guys logging off of social media, Perkins said. Everybody's affected in a different way. I'm not trying to put the two together. I'm just trying to say this day and age, a lot of these guys are dealing with their own form of adversity. People can say they're just soft or just stay off of social media. Do you know how effing hard it is to stay off of social media? Malik, your thoughts on what Perkins said?
Kendrick basically he talked about who his favorite player is. He tried to connect. He said everybody's pain tolerance is per person. He said a lot of nothing, but I mean, their pain and I guess must be respected. But I don't. Well, whatever he defines as his best for his criteria determines who his best player is. So once people understand that, then that the halfway debunks the whole who their best player is versus their favorite player conversation. Then it goes into the racism thing. I believe that social media does for people nowadays, that is their kind of how they get bashed. You know, COVID happened, so a lot of people weren't outside, didn't get the high school thing or the college experience or the just being around people. So it's not how it used to. You know, just being around people, socializing isn't how it used to be. But I don't think being harassed and bullied on social media is anything like what people went through, what my ancestors went through, what our grandparents went through. So I can't agree with him there. I can agree with him that, you know, it makes tougher skin for sure, but just not that whole point. Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah, that was just idiotic, man. And he should be ashamed of himself. Like, to even first he started by saying, "Yeah, I get it," and then said, "But what these guys go through today on social media," and then 2 seconds later tried to say, "I'm not trying to put it up against that," when you literally just did. Like, to even to even bring that up in comparison in any way to what Bill Russell and those guys went through, like somebody calling you names online, and people go overboard. I get it. They stupid. It's foolishness. But those same people in person are asking you for an autograph. People broke into this man's house, vandalized his home, and took a shit in his personal bed. Like, he's traveling with the team and he can't even stay in the same hotels and eat in the same restaurants. Like, while still having to go out and perform with them and win multiple championships. Like, to even like, was if somebody brings up what Bill Russell went through, for you to even bring up social media is just super disrespectful for one. And it's I don't know what point he was trying to prove. Like, just arguing just to argue. Sometimes it's just okay to say, "All right, cool, I see what you're saying," and move on with your life. But to try to produce a counterpoint to that was saying, "But what they go through on the internet, like, delete that off your phone." Like, what are you talking about? And for a 40-year-old man to say, "Do you know how hard it is to stay off social media?" is embarrassing. like, like I'm on social media a lot. I scroll, we share things in the group chat nonstop, what have you. But I promise you, if social media went away today, I'd be perfectly fine. Like, that's not the real world, man. But yeah, that was foolishness. And for him to even acknowledge that Bill Russell being instrumental in him even having an opportunity to be in the NBA, and then go on to say, "But these dudes got to deal with Twitter trolls." Like, do you hear yourself? And I hope somebody play that back for him and he really absorb what he said out loud, even if he's just doing it for clicks and views or what have you. Like, I really usually I don't even pay attention to that stuff, but I really would like him to walk that back, because that's terrible, man. Like, that dude went through so much and sacrificed so much for these guys to be able to do what they do today, and for you to come out and say something like that, man, some and I need the NBA community to be on his neck, seriously, because that was stupid. Like that, nah, we can't have that. Like, this GOAT stuff, like people questioning Mike, that's stupid enough, but that's just basketball. What Bill Russell did and what he went through goes beyond that. That shouldn't be disrespected, denigrated, or downplayed in any way. He need to publicly acknowledge that what he said was foolishness.
They are listening to Sirius XM NBA radio. OGs like Eddie Johnson, Chicago's finest. Yeah, they went in on him. He bugging, man. He basically saying he's tripping. So yeah, he's been catching it, I'm sure. Wilson, your thoughts?
They laid it out perfectly. Agree with what Malik said too. Like, it's social media. You can literally, one of the many people that's usually on y'all's payroll, one of them can just manage your phone. with social media on it. I know it sounds crazy, but hey, also as Ray said, you're in our age bracket, man. It should be easy to pick up your phone and find other things to do outside of social media. It shouldn't be that difficult. Lastly, it's just a really asinine take. Like, how dare you try to compare it? It's one of those things where, like, today, I think everybody finds it fun, like, to be a contrarian. Some things you just fall back, man. This is one of those things. When they bring up one of the OGs and talk about what they went through, shut up. That's crazy. I can't believe they went through that. Be quiet. There's so many different ways you could have went with this. But and then I think, what's it called? Didn't he mention like John Wall or something? What John went through, and that wasn't social media. That was like actual real life.
Real
Like,
life stuff.
what
Yeah.
like what are you talking about? So while trying to tunnel your way out of this horrible mound of BS you spewed, you brought up somebody else's like probably one of the most traumatic times in their actual real life to make a case for it, which again, going to actual real life things outside of basketball. What the hell are you talking about? For social media? Come on, man. Like, that's crazy. And also, all this stuff happened while he was playing for Boston.
The civil rights era.
Playing for Boston in these, talking about turning the sliders up to high. Man, come on, man.
And Wilson, and we were around when John Wall was going through all that. That wasn't social media, man. That was real life stuff, man. But before I even get started, Wilson, can you just play the Bill Russell clip?
Mm-hmm.
Please, sir.
There were not that many violations for me personally because I would not permit it.
Okay.
What
about the attempt to violate?
There were a lot of attempts, but I just don't let. Okay. One of the big examples is we were down in Lexington, Kentucky, and we were supposed to play an exhibition game, and they were going to honor one of my teammates and one of the guys from the other team that had played there. So we got ready. Casey was my roommate. He went to go down and get a pregame meal at the hotel, and they wouldn't serve him. So Casey comes back and tells me that, because I was getting ready to go meet him. He says, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going." He says, "They won't serve you down there." So I said, "Well, Casey, that's the best thing you said to me in a long time." And he says, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm going to go home." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm going to go home." I went in the room and I called Eastern Airlines and I said, "When's your next flight out of here?" He says, "Where do you want to go?" I says, "Boston's my first destination, then New York and Washington. And if you don't have anything going in those three places, then Chicago. But I want to get out of here." They said, "We got a flight that goes from here to Washington to Boston. I want a seat on it." So Kay says, "You're not going to leave me?" I said, "Okay, 2 seats." Then Sam and Sats came in the room. They says, because they had experienced the same thing. And I said, "Well, you're not going to leave us." So I said, "I want 4 seats." And then there's the rookie. We couldn't find. He'd been out for a walk. We couldn't find him. So I called Red and said, "Red, I'm going home." He said, "It's been a long trip. Well, what time's the flight tomorrow?" I said, "Oh, no, it's not tomorrow. I got a 7 o'clock flight out here tonight." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I got a reservation on a flight out here at 7 o'clock tonight." He said, why? What? I said, "Well, went down to eat in the restaurant. They wouldn't serve us. So I'm going to go out and get a good meal." So he said, "Wait a minute, let me find out what's happened." So he called back about 5-6 minutes. He said, "Everything's okay." "What is okay, Red?" "What do you mean okay?" "Well, this hotel is the owner, and he's the general manager also. And he's invited you guys to have dinner with him in his suite. And I cleaned up for you." I said, "Who the hell is he to think that I want to have dinner with him.
Yes.
I'm not interested in socializing with him. I don't know him, and I don't want to have dinner with him. Who the hell is he? He says, well, what do you want me to do? I said, Red, like I told you a few minutes ago, I got a 7 o'clock flight out of here. So he says, wait, before you do that, wait a minute. Let me. So he called back about 5 days. He said, listen, they said what you could do is go down to eat in the restaurant now, and that'll be the end of segregation in that restaurant. Red, that's irrelevant. It doesn't make any difference. There's nothing that's going to change the fact that I'm going to be on that 7 o'clock flight. There's nothing he can say or anybody can say to change that. I said, because, you know, apologies come up shaky to me. But the reason I say that is that if you're sorry you did something, why did you do it in the first place? And most times the apology is you're sorry about the reaction you got to what you did, not necessarily what you did. And see, I think I can separate that.
Especially when money is involved too.
Well, and so so Red had a choice. And I really, really hated to put him in that position because he had a choice whose side was going to take.
Yes, yes.
You know, he's got to coach a team and a scheduled game. And his players said they're not going to play. Now, what can he say? You have to play because this is game on schedule and you're part of this team. He could have said that, but he probably would have lost
Yes.
his players. And as brilliant as he is, that was not really a question for him.
Yes, and the psychologist knew.
Yes.
Yes, knew.
So he said that he's going to go out to the airport with us to make sure that the tickets and everything are all right. He did too.
And he did.
But one other thing I did, I called the guys on the other team
Oh.
and said, I want to give you some information. That's the only thing I'm going to give you. Nothing else. I'm not going to give you suggestions or anything. All I'm going to do is give you some information. Because I don't know how you stand and what your relationship with your team is. And I'm not going to put you in jeopardy. If you are in jeopardy, it will be in your own making. All I'm going to do is give you some information. The black guys on the Celtics are not going to play tonight. And the reason I'm going to give you that information is I don't want you to get to the game and then find out then. And so on the spot, you got to make a decision what you're going to do with not enough time to give it any thought.
And that's kindness too.
You know, I said, so whatever you do, it's okay with me. I have no problem with it. If you decide to play, I hope you have a good game. You know, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but I want to emphasize. All I'm calling to do is to give you information so that you won't be blindsided when you get to the arena. And so they decided not to play also.
Fantastic.
And so, but from then on, when they start booking exhibition games, they have to do some research.
Yes, I guess so.
Yeah, I wanted that to play out because I wanted people to understand firsthand what they went through. And that was an exhibition game. And they had to deal with racism, not being fed a pregame meal before they had to play a game. No player today understands what that's like, man. No, come on, man. And Perkins should really, I know he didn't go to college, but he should know better being from the South. Being a big black dude from the South. I mean, we are, as a whole, society got to get back to educating ourselves on our own, and also thinking before we speak. Something simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people just saying stuff, causing drama, and either having a cop please, or if they're stubborn, they got a big ego, they don't like them when they're wrong, they want to double down on being wrong. And that's just, you get nowhere like that as a society, man. It was very ignorant, beyond disrespectful. Nobody alive today, for unless you on on the other side of the world dealing with some foreign stuff that go on, they kind of deal with it. But nobody in America, let's just say that, nobody in America today is going through what they went through the civil rights, Jim Crow era. Just like people who were growing up in the Jim Crow civil rights era didn't go through what people went through in slavery. Like, it's just common sense stuff, man. Bill Russell was winning all those damn championships, and after the game, he couldn't go next door and get a meal because he was black. Kendrick Perkins, none of your Celtics teammates, when y'all won the championship 08, had to deal with that. Matter of fact, you probably had every restaurant in Boston lined up ready to serve y'all just for the publicity and stuff, and because they happy y'all won. And then we're not even going to add in how racist Boston was at that time, man. It's a recent documentary where they highlighted that right before he passed away, Bill Russell passed away, where they really detailed how tough it was for the black players on the Celtics during that time. There's a reason why when Bill Russell retired and they chose to retire his number, he didn't do it in front of fans. He did it in front of the Celtics organization to a closed building, a private ceremony, because he was still pissed about what he went through when he was playing. And then years later, new ownership came in and they kind of bridged that gap. And he finally got his just due when he was holding ring in Boston, celebrating and clapped for him and stuff like that. I really just don't understand how people come to these conclusions. And it seemed like, you said contrarian, it seemed like Kendrick is playing that role to keep his job. But some things you just shouldn't play with, man, especially being a black man. Like, it's just a disgrace. Because you've given certain people, certain pockets of our society, ammunition to use against us. They already trying to basically erase that part of history. Like, that didn't happen. That's just some figment of your imagination. Why do y'all believe that? They're already trying to do that. So now when you say stuff like that, look, Kendrick Perkins said that, NBA champion, he said that. Some things just shouldn't be said. And I'm glad Richard Jefferson scrunched his face up like, dude, like kind of giving him like, don't do this. But no, he got to be stubborn and double down. No player's gone through that, man. It was even the story of Bill Russell. His car broke down in the rain and he got out. Obviously, ain't no cell phones and stuff like that. Anybody drive past can identify as Bill Russell. He's standing out there in the rain. No one will help. No one helped. No one offered to help and stuff like that. So he had to walk miles to find a black establishment to make a call so somebody can come help him get his car back to his house and stuff like that. They went through hell, man. They went through hell to the point where Bill Russell only went to the black side of Boston, the black part of Boston. He knew better to go over the white side. The black players knew better because they knew it would just be trouble, man. Keep in mind, think about how you talking about mental health and stuff. These people are in the building cheering us on, and after the game, we ain't shit to them. Every game. And keep in mind, we're winning at a rate no other team in sports history will ever be able to duplicate ever again. Come on, man. We can end it on this. I just wanted to play that to put in perspective about, and that was light what he went through for what he went through. It's not light, but it was light for what he went through. I know there's many more stories. I know he's passed away, but his daughter still on Twitter, she's active. If you talk to his daughter, I'm pretty sure she can give you even more detailed stories about stuff they went through. Matter of fact, it was an old interview with Bob Cousy. They asked him about it. It was a Celtics documentary. And Bob Cousy just started broke down and cried for no reason because he's like, we didn't do enough. And Bill Russell was like, they did speak up. They did speak up for him, but he said it wasn't their place to carry that burden of having to, in a sense, protect us in society. Bill Russell was like, why society just couldn't change and treat us like grown men, like treat us with the respect we deserve. That was the bigger task. You have no idea, man. Like, think about it. They could have shot Bill Russell dead in his yard, like they did Medgar Evers. Negro basketball player, Bill Russell dead. And could have gotten away with it. More than likely would have gotten away with it. So he the best player on the planet. And let's say that happened. Who gonna get close enough to LeBron James to try to take him out? Steph Curry or Kevin Durant or something, try to take them out like that. That won't happen in today's era. Like like you won't even get that close. You gotta go through barriers to get to that. So to try to make a situation the same where you can simply just delete your app and be done with it. Like for what we do for a living, we gotta be on social media. That's the first thing media-wise they're gonna look at. See your content, see your work and stuff. It's a big part of our job. You can't turn off racism. It's there. It was there. It was there with the people running the country, White House, J. Edgar Hoover, all that. That's Bill Russell was doing this thing when Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was alive. Like, think about it, the Panthers, all that. Think about what's going on, Medgar Evers. I just think about what was going on, man. There's nothing going on today that matches that. Because some fools say you some trash in basketball, that's the same. Come on, man. We gotta do better than this, man. We gotta stop with this contrarian stuff and start speaking these facts, man, and leave certain things alone, man. Because certain things just don't even make sense, man.
Oh, and this is one of those things. It's just really simple. It's exactly what it was, and some things don't need to be compared.
Like, think about it. One last point. The top black basketball players today, you go to Kentucky, go to Duke, North Carolina and stuff. You didn't go to those schools back then. You kept your ass up north, or you went to the Northwest.
It wasn't even invited back then.
You would go to a HBCU, play for Clarence Big House Games or John McClendon or something like that, and do work. You didn't even touch those schools, man. It was dangerous. They would kill you. They had secret scrimmages during that time. Duke, North Carolina Central. They literally had secret scrimmages they had to keep off the radar because they were scared the Klan were coming in and try to kill the black players and the coaches and stuff. Patrick Ewing just told a story on his recruiting trip to North Carolina with Michael Jordan, by the way. They saw a Klans rally, 1981. And Patrick Ewing like, hell no. You know why? Because he went through hell in Boston playing high school basketball in the late 70s, early 80s. He went through hell. So if he was going through that in the late 80s as the phenom black high school basketball player, imagine what the top player in the NBA was going through in the 60s, the 50s, and the 60s. Man. Come on, man. You got to listen.
Yeah, just y'all please just stop being contrarians. We all walk around with these really nice supercomputers in our pocket. Man, and now you can even talk to the phone. You don't even have to type anymore, and y'all still out here with this recklessness. Like, it's crazy. You got ChatGPT out here. There is so many reasons to not do the things y'all do, but y'all find a way. Please stop.
If you Google AI, just break it down for you. You ain't got to click on the link. Just break the whole joint down now.
It will read while you're making. It will read back to you why what you said was stupid and you shouldn't say it aloud. Siri will tell you, no, don't say that to another human being, and please don't repeat it to me. But we appreciate y'all for tuning in this week. We'll see y'all next week, same time, same place. Obviously, gonna have the first NFL segment of the year, so we're looking forward to that. Obviously, we'll see what's going on with the Mystics and where they stand, because we'll be back home next week by the time we talk to you. Third quarter, there's an end over there in Chicago. Mystics Outlook, folks. We'll see you later this evening. Again, for Malik, Cardell, and Ray, and myself, y'all have a great week. We'll see you next week at 8 p.m.